And what's going on, everybody? I am Kadarius Washington, and it is the last Football Friday of the regular season, and it's time for our latest edition of the CW Six Pack, our weekly little pick segment where we take 6 games across the NFL slate and we pick them against the spread. And before we get into our picks, I just want to say, first of all, Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I hope you all enjoyed the holiday season and enjoyed the time with your family, your friends, and your loved ones. And I also want to say thank you to each and every one of you that rock with me in 2025, my first year of doing this whole sports broadcasting thing, being a 23-year-old journalism grad student looking to get a full career in sports broadcasting. I want to say thank you to everyone who liked, commented, subscribed. Thank you to the ones who would comment, good job, keep up the good work. And even thank you to those who said that my take sucked and that I didn't know what I was talking about. And you know what? I probably didn't. But it's also crazy to think, too, that at the end of the month, we are going to be celebrating a full year of the sports rundown, and I didn't know how long I was going to do this thing on YouTube for, but nevertheless, we're going to be doing things bigger and we're going to be doing things better for the sports rundown in 2026, so y'all stay tuned to that. But if I don't give you guys anything else, I'm going to give you guys a pick segment, so let's go ahead and get into these picks. So last week was very much a rough week for us. We got destroyed in our picks last week. We made 11 total picks as far as week 17 is concerned. We picked the 3 Christmas Day games. We picked the 2 Saturday games, and then, of course, our regular 6-pack slate. And we went 0-3 in our Christmas Day picks. We split our Saturday picks, and we went 2-4 in the 6-pack. So add that all up together, we went 3-8 in our picks last week. But thankfully, we still have a winning record on the year. We are 60, 57-1 on the season. So here we go. For week 18, it's a new week. It's time for some new picks. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, let's start with this Saturday doubleheader here. So the first game on the Saturday slate, we have the Carolina Panthers going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay 2.5-point favorites. It's the NFC South Championship, kinda. Because if the Panthers win, they clinch the NFC South. But if Tampa wins, we have to wait until Sunday to see who wins the division. Because if the Falcons beat the Saints, let's just say, if Tampa wins and then the Falcons beat the Saints, then it becomes a 3-way tie in the division, and the Panthers would get the tiebreakers and win the division. I mean, if that's not the NFC South in a nutshell, I don't know what is. But anyway, here's the thing, folks. Throughout this season, I've picked 4 Panthers games. Week 3 against the Falcons, I laid the points with the Falcons. Week 9 against Green Bay, and I laid the points with Green Bay. Week 12 against San Francisco, and I actually took the points with the Panthers. And then week 13 against the Rams, I laid the points with the Rams. I am 0-4 picking Panthers games this year. I am 0-3 when I pick against the Panthers, and I am 0-1 when I actually do pick the Panthers. And folks, here's my thing. I don't trust Carolina in this game. I do not trust my team in this game. Every time we get a golden opportunity to take the division, we always find a way to blow it. And on top of that, even though it's technically not a primetime game, the Carolina Panthers are 1-3 in standalone games of the Bryce Young era, 0-3 in primetime in said era. I don't trust Carolina, and I feel like this would be the game. This would be the very game that Tampa Bay turns it around and wins the game. So you know what, folks? For the 4th time this year, I'm picking against my own team. I'm laying the 2.5 with Tampa Bay. Now watch Carolina mess around and win this game. But anyway, Game number 2, we have the Seattle Seahawks going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Seahawks 1.5-point favorites on the road. This is the NFC West Championship right here. Winner gets the division and the 1 seed in the NFC, and the loser falls to either the 5 seed or the 6 seed, depending on what the Rams do on Sunday. One of the best defenses in football in Seattle going up against one of the best offenses in football right now in San Francisco. And folks, Sam Darnold once again is getting another opportunity to lock up the 1 seed in the NFC. And just like last year when he was with Minnesota, but I am skeptical to see which Sam Darnold we're going to get in this game and if he actually squashed the can't play in a big game narrative after the Rams game from a couple of weeks ago. But going on the road here doesn't make it any easier, but the Seahawks defense really makes it hard to pick against them. But at the same time, the 49ers are getting hot at the absolute right time. They just find ways to win ball games regardless of how personnel looks and who's in and who's out. And Christian McCaffrey, who's been healthy all year, has been on an absolute tear. This is a coin flip, shot in the dark pick, but you know what? I didn't take a dog last week. I'm not going to let that happen for 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to take the 1.5 here with the 49ers. All right, early afternoon window. I'm only going to do one game in the early afternoon window. Let's do the Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans. Texans, 10.5-point favorites at home. Another quarterback change for the Colts as Riley Leonard, the former Notre Dame quarterback, will be getting the start. And the Texans, who are already in the playoffs, will clinch the AFC South title with a win and the Jaguars' loss. And both of those games are going to be taking place at the same time. But listen, the Texans offense had a little bit of a pop last week against the Chargers in the first half anyway. But as we know, the story of the Texans has been the defense. And even though Riley Leonard is a mobile quarterback and he does run around from his days at Notre Dame, I can't help but think that the Texans defense is going to make life miserable for him. So I think we might have to sweat this thing out, but I'm going to lay the 10.5 with the Houston Texans. All right, late afternoon window. Let's do the Miami Dolphins against the New England Patriots. Patriots, 10.5-point favorites at home. Quinn Ewers has had a couple of solid starts since taking over as the Dolphins starter, and of course coming off a win against a Bucs team that's fighting for their season. But the Patriots do have a thing for blowing teams out. Plus, they are in the mix for the 1 seed in the AFC. Of course, they have to wait and see. Well, not wait and see because they're going to be playing at the same time. But of course, they have to see what the Broncos are going to do in their game coming up as far as the Chargers are concerned. And listen, I'm sure the Patriots are going to come out and play hard for that 1 seed if they have an opportunity to get it. I just really like the Patriots in this game, and Drake May, of course, with one last chance to stake his claim for the MVP. I'm going to lay the 10.5 here with the New England Patriots. All right, let's do the Arizona Cardinals against the Los Angeles Rams. Rams, 7.5-point favorites at home. Right now, LA is a 6 seed, but they could become a 5 seed with a win. And if everything holds right now, if they get the 5 seed, they would face the NFC South winner. But if they stay at 6, they would probably be getting the Eagles. And as we know, the Eagles have been the Rams' kryptonite for a while. So I would think the Rams would want to avoid that. But, of course, Sean McVay said that the starters are going to play. But how much playing time they're going to get remains to be seen. But the Cardinals, as we know, is a mess of a team as they have been all year. And this pick is really more anti-Cardinals than it is pro-Rams. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the 7.5 with the Rams. And last but not least, Sunday nighter, game 272. We have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ravens 3.5-point favorites on the road. AFC North Championship. Winner gets the last spot in the AFC. Loser's season is done, and they face a lot of questions in the offseason, especially from a coaching standpoint. And NBC, folks, they love a good win-or-go-home game for game 272, and it could very much be Aaron Rodgers' last game. Lamar Jackson is back in the game, returning from a back injury, and TJ Watt could be giving it a go. I'm trying to come back from that collapsed lung from a couple of weeks ago, but it is unknown. And folks, last week we were reminded that when Derrick Henry gets the ball and he doesn't fumble it, good things happen. But my main concern is, will Lamar being back be playing into the Steelers' hand? Because there has been a tendency where the ball does end up in Lamar's hands late in the game, even though Derrick Henry is on a heater. And I hope John Harbaugh learned his lesson once and for all after that Patriots game from a few weeks ago. Pittsburgh played with their food too much last week against the Browns, where it felt like they were so worried about giving up the single season sack record to Myles Garrett that they actually forgot to go out and win the game. And I feel like wasting a prime opportunity to clinch the division last week is going to bite them in the rear end. I think this is going to be your typical Ravens-Steelers game. Close, ugly, low scoring, and one to sweat out. But I really like the 3.5 value that the Ravens are getting. I saw the line was at once at 4.5, and I was kind of nervous about it. But thankfully, the line did go down to 3.5, and now I feel more comfortable with it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay the points with the Baltimore Ravens. All right, so our picks this week, I'm going Tampa Bay 2.5. I'm going San Francisco plus 1.5. I'm going Texans minus 10.5, Patriots minus 10.5, Rams minus 7.5, and the Ravens minus 3.5. And before y'all ask me, yes, I will be doing a pick segment when we get to the playoffs. We'll be doing this thing all the way up until Super Bowl 60. So y'all go ahead and stay tuned for that. Like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell to be notified of when I post again, and also follow me on Twitter and on Bluesky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports, and I will see y'all the next time. Peace.